Welcome to the Pantheon HS3 Safety and Basic Use. So this machine is for making carbon fiber nylon parts, making carbon fiber PETG parts, and the glass-filled nylon parts. It's for engineering grade materials and some really amazing parts. You can see the quality and strength of these parts is just phenomenal. You could not break this if you tried with your bare hands. It's really, really amazing stuff. So we're gonna basically go through how to use this machine and be able to start printing on it. So the Pantheon has some documentation right on the side, some very clean and basic use to be able to create stuff. So to start, again, we need to make sure that is your bed plate cleaned. You need to be able to clean your bed plate, and as well, you need to use a little isopropyl on a cloth to clean your bed. You need to use the glue on the bed, and then you need to clean the nozzle once you heat it up and be able to create the, basically wipe it off with a nozzle. And then you need to make sure that the material that is in there is correct for what you are doing. Now, this is an important step. We do not allow filament outside of what the Pantheon uses, and you must use the filament we have. If you need to switch the filament, you have to have a staff do it. This is the filament box that is in there. We'll make sure that there's a label on there so that we know exactly what filament is in there for each use. And if you do need to change the filament, the staff, a member of staff has to do it. So they hyper dry their filament to an immense degree. And so it's important, if that filament is left out or that door on that filament thing is actually left open for longer than 15 minutes, it will destroy the ability to use the filament. So, and that filament, like that roll that's in there is about, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So we're gonna be very specific on only letting the staff change filament. So if the machine is off, you can come around and use the switch to turn on the filament, or to turn on the machine. More documentation is on the QR code, and to be able to actually upload your sliced prints to the printer is going to be right at that location on the hs3-09.local in your web browser, and you'll be able to upload your print. So we'll go through the software here in a little bit. The printer, pretty much if you've used any other 3D printers, it's very similar. You'll be able to do what you need to do here. The controls are pretty simple. You can click on homing and be able to home all, for example, and that will actually, you can see, works this way. Notice also that the head right here says PETG only. That means that you absolutely have to use the right nozzle for things. So there's one nozzle for PETG and there's one nozzle for nylon, and you must have staff change that out for you. So other than that, there are some very basic stuff. If you're in here, once you've loaded your file, you're gonna come over to print and you'll find your file here, and then you can just simply click print, and that's how you load it. Everything else is going to be set up in the software, which we're gonna talk about what software you use, what profiles you use, and how to be able to set those up in just a moment. Beyond that, while the printer is moving, please do not open the chambers, especially if someone is printing on something, because the heat change will actually cause a failed print. So if somebody's printing on it, just leave it alone, and then you can schedule it when you're ready. Again, this is for engineering grade materials. If you don't need carbon fiber nylon, don't print in it. Use the carbon fiber PETG. It'll be a lot cheaper and a better print. However, if you are doing testing, you are welcome to, but just again, we will have to change, the staff will have to change that out. The last part is you'll basically use one of the glue sticks, one of these glue sticks, and you'll coat the plate before your print, and then make sure that you actually clean the plate after the print is done, and probably even just to be safe before the print, before you actually print. Okay, let's go take a look at the software. So let's talk about the software. So you'll need to go to the Pantheon Design website, which is on the side of the printer, to be able to get your slicer information. So they have a nice little wiki here that gives you information on how to do stuff. They also talk about the slicer. The slicer is a form of the Prusa slicer, so you'll be asked to install the Prusa slicer for your operating system. And the most important part, though, is going to be the config file, so the config bundle. So you're going to download this config bundle, and then in Prusa Slicer, you're navigate to File, Import, and then Import Config Bundle. That's very important because there's other options for import config, and that's not the right option. So once you import the bundles the bundle into the Prusa Slicer, then you will have all of your different things here into the system. So notice they have carbon fiber nylon, carbon fiber PETG, glass fiber nylon, and they even have a glass draft carbon fiber PETG, which actually prints a little bit faster, which is pretty cool. So those are the presets. You must use these, and they must match the filament that is in the dryer box. If you need to use a different filament than is in the box currently loaded, you actually have to ask the staff to change it. The reason is because that, like we've said before, the filament left out even for 15 minutes will destroy the filament, and it will not be able to be printed with, and it will be an entire thing. So, and these filament rolls are very expensive, so we cannot, at this point, we can't take the chance. So if you need the filament changed, talk to our staff, and then we could be able to make that happen. So other than that, if you've ever used a 3D printer slicer, this stuff is going to be pretty easy. It's Prusa Slicer. Everybody has, if you've done 3D printing, has used this before. You can open a project, you can load your file right here by adding, and then we can, for example, I can take a I don't know, we're going to do, I've got some Mandalorian stuff on here, which is kind of fun. I'm going to take a file here, and I'm going to print the shoulder STL, so you can actually load that in. Oops, I guess my button doesn't like where my face is here. And then it's going to load your file, and then you're going to be able to choose to set your support and do whatever you need to do. This is the carbon fiber PETG is what I've actually starting to print with this. You can change it right here, what the settings are, and then it will go in through there. And then just like any other slicer at this point, if you're using this machine, I don't probably need to tell you how to use it. This is where you're going to put your support, rotate it, lay it flat, move it around, do whatever you need to do on the actual print, and you should be able to set all of this pretty simply and get your file loaded. Once you have your file loaded and it is ready to go, like for example, I probably need to set up support on this this printer. So let's see, where is the support on this? I think we're going to move, I'm going to move over here. The print settings, there's also a million print settings, filament settings, and print settings which you can play with. The other part of this, let's see, supports are right here. Support on build plate only. You can also use all the things like such as, for example, set your, you can set up support enforcers, you can build support on build plate only or everywhere. The Prusa Slicer does allow you to print support, paint on the supports, so you can actually set your support in different places, all of those things. And so for example, I'm going to support build plate only to start, and then you click Slice Now. And it should slice it, and Then, once you've sliced it, you're going to then need to let it process, export your G-code, and then upload the file on the URL that is listed on the side of the machine, and that will get your print onto the machine. Everything else we've already covered, except for please make sure that you reserve the printer that you're using, and that then you do need to pay for the filament that you use. So once I've actually sliced it, you will get information on how much filament you use. If you are printing and you have a failed print, I'm sorry, you still need to pay for the filament. You need to be able to look at, for example, you could just simply say the print made it about 34%. It was 100 grams, and so it means that you need to pay for 34 grams of filament. That's probably the easiest way to calculate that. And then just send us an email at info@circuitlaunch.com, and then be able to, and then let us know with the word filament in the subject line, and then we'll be able to go ahead and charge your account for the filament. So, for example, my part here is 19 hours and 25 minutes. The filament lists are all, or the filament is all through here. However, you also on the bottom here, the filament, used filament is 673 grams is what I've got here on that. So there's different prices for the nylon and for the PETG, but this is how you can be able to calculate your filament usage and go from there. Please don't try to take out the filament and weigh it and then put it back in and then weigh it, etc. like that. The problem is opening and closing that box will introduce moisture, and we don't want that. So thanks, and good luck using the printer. If there are issues, please make sure you put in the Slack message of #TellUsIt'sBroken, and we will fix it and go from there. So hope you guys have some great prints on this, and I'm very excited to print on this amazing machine for the Pantheon HS3, which does nylon, PETG, and carbon fiber versions of both of those. So good luck, and let us know if you have any issues.